So we're actually gonna detach from this Unreal thing so I can take a look at this. So it's create dynamic material instance. We're passing in just an element index of 0 and then a source material, and then we just call set scalar thing. So we just need to edit paper sprite component.cpp and paper sprite paper flipbook component. So we're going to call, we need to get our material off of our paper sprite component. We can just call get material. With an index of 0. Alright, so if material does not equal null pointer, then we call create dynamic material interface, and we're going to pass in 0 and then material, and that's going to return material interface pointer. And we're just going to call set scalar parameter value, and we're going to pass in this text depth offset. We're going to pass in our value. So in 32 slots is going to be 5,000, and we're basically going to say our int32 num is going to be our component ID dot primitive ID value mod slots, and then we're going to have our float. We're going to have slot width, and we're going to put that at 1.0f, and we're going to say our value is going to be slot width divided by our number. What is this complaining about? Material interface. Oh, it's a material interface, material instance dynamic. Material instance dynamic. Pointer to an incomplete type. So let's go to the declaration. This should be material instance dynamic.h. Material instance dynamic. Alright, good. So let me go right back to that. This is inside of materials engine. Alright, so set scalar parameter value, name and value. So let's see if this compiles for us. Totally does. Alright, so we basically just want to do that for both our paper sprite and our paper flipbook component. So if we just chuck that over here, then basically we're finished with our depth sorting. I was not compiling it. Alright, now it looks like I have. Alright, cool. Why do we not need to include... Didn't need to include everything. And Visual Studio is still angry with us. Oh, yeah, it's because this thing's still running. I was like, something's wrong here. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna unhook this. So our rocks should not... Our rock should work, but the reason the rock should work is now because this is being set. Yeah, I was like, this looks like it should be a compile error over here. Material instance dynamic, no such file or directory. Well, is it materials slash? Yeah, I guess it's materials slash. Excellent, that looks like it's there, so I'm going to just, throw a few things in here real quick and see what we get. And I don't see any Z fighting. Of course, my breakpoints also aren't getting hit. Shows how much the problem was solved originally by a lot of these things. So is there a begin play? Alright, so we need a begin play. Begin play we should be able to look at one of our components. What's a component we have that actually uses begin play? Like that. I really don't like how it hides a lot of this from you. I mean, that how Visual Studio lays up the files on top. How you'll be working on something and then it'll disappear immediately. It's like, no, could you just sort this by stuff that's being used? Alright, so this is not paper sprayed, it's your paper flipbook. Is there any begin play anywhere? No. Alright, we will see if this stuff actually gets called at all. And if it does what it should. Alright, let's see how this works. So we hit play. These guys, do they have materials now? These do have materials, and they're creating them and setting these values. So let's see what values we got. Depth offset, find. The number is 0. Let's see, split name, hard-coded, index. Value is 0.000931. Cool. And so that worked. What about these guys? Value is 0.00983. Let's just make sure we're actually. Yeah, it's going down. Okay, so it is changing. So that was 0.0097. Like, all right. So let's make sure we set our close-up cam here. And get close. Yeah, so we are clipping behind a few things. So is that because things aren't working, or because they are working, would be the question. Well, so our screen space offset is going from it's going to be 5,000 divided by the number. Or is it the other way around? Should it be the other way around? Well, let's see what we can do if we just set them to 1,000 each. I mean, it's acting as though it's just not working. Is that true? Well, what's interesting is basically I'm not seeing any of the flicker between those objects themselves, but I am seeing it with so if we disable this entirely, does it do anything? Is more what I'm thinking. Because it may be that we are resetting our material at some point here inside of our paper flipbook or something like that. And as a result, we need to not do that. Like, I would totally expect our paper flipbook to be grabbing stuff off of the paper sprite. And overwriting its material sometime later. So it could be that our character is screwed up. Well, how come I'm not seeing any issues? I mean, I'm pretty sure we disabled everything for this. Like, this doesn't run. Active breakpoint execution. Yeah, okay, so we're not ever calling this thing. What material are we actually using for Bitey? It's using the masculine spray. The masculine sprite has the depth offset. Well, when we set it inside of the begin play of the parent object, it's working. When we set it inside of the paper flipbook component, it's not. Yeah, we're definitely seeing Z fighting happen. There's some lines in Bitey when he moves, especially. Let me turn this stuff off. So what is going on here? It's gonna have to be with our algorithm. Alright, so this is gonna be, there's 1,000 slots, so this is gonna be a number between 0 and 1,000, including 0, isn't it? Well, we should actually be... This should be, it should be number multiplied by the slot width divided by the number of slots. So we'll never divide by 0 and all that stuff. So I think our math was just wrong here. That's what we were having problems with. Because we would have actually been getting zeros and dividing by 0 for the value and just screwing stuff up. Yeah, so it's 1.0 divided by 5,000 multiplied by the number. Yeah, that's correct. Let's see, I don't see any streaks or anything else going on. I don't see anything crazy. Let's change our camera and move even closer. Is he shadowing himself? I think he's causing himself... Yeah, he is shadowing himself. Is that going to be because of the offset in world space? So we actually need to like change that material. Or I guess we could change the code to be negative value. So let's see, I'm messing around with this real quick, and let's just take off the offset here real quick and see if that shadow goes away. Are they just in shadow from themselves and that's what's going on? Yeah, it's alright, it's in the X and all that stuff. Maybe we can do a pixel depth offset on this. Well, I'm not getting the results that I want. It looks like it's screwing with the shadows. And it looks like the shadows are just messed up with where he's basically shadowing himself is what it looks like. There's the shadow is not taking into account the world space offset of the vertices. For the directional light, well, I think what's going on is basically it was the lighting is being computed. The lighting was being computed with the object, and because it was moving, like the pre-computed lighting was all sorts of screwed up. And lighting is just a real pain in the ass. Like knowing how everything is supposed to work is kind of annoying. It's like, okay, well, if you're deforming your geometry, then your directional lighting is screwed up. It's like, wait a minute, what? I don't see any shadows at all from the directional light. I mean, we've got it from the spotlight. You know, there it is, doing what it should, and looking pretty good. But the like, we got the point light shadows. Working properly. But this directional light just doesn't freaking work. So let's take a look. Movable directional light, no shadows, Unreal. It's not cast a dynamic shadow. Make sure you're using engine scalability settings. Game specific settings, material quality level. Where is this? Settings, engine scalable quality settings, material quality settings, preview rendering. Let's see, this directional light is the thing causing our problems. So effects world, cast shadows, light shaft occludes, distance field of shadows. Well, let's see if it can do it. Like, I would totally expect this to work. Like, this is a movable directional light in the sky pointing like this. It should totally cast shadows and just it's obviously working in the renderer right here, but there's something with our other renderer or our material or something is messing that up when it's running. Like, I see static object shadows. Like, there's shadows for the directional light on static objects, but not on dynamic objects. I mean, is it that I need a movable object here? This just doesn't make sense to me. Or maybe they're always in shadow? Well, let's go to the camera. So maybe it's in our material somewhere here. I mean, obviously this thing is stationary, and that's stationary. This is stationary. It's using Dashkin opaque object, so it's not getting our textures, our stuff correct. So what might be happening is our sprite materials are like this used with static lighting might be doing something, right? Because that's getting shadowed by something. Like, what is this? This is the opaque object. The opaque object is casting a shadow on an opaque object. Looks like it's also casting a shadow onto this thing. So let's just disable the depth offset in the shader. See if this does anything. Is this with disabled depth offset? What? Really? No, that's wrong. What the hell? Ah, this thing. Just gotta figure out why all these things are so screwed. Landscape, gizmo, active, active. I don't know what this does. Got the hill sprites. Why did it get deleted? Where are those light mask importance volumes? Yeah, okay, fine. Got them back. Yeah, I wish I knew more about how all this lighting stuff works, because it's really been very odd and difficult to get to work properly. Where just shadow, lights and shadows just don't work as I would expect them to do. It's been pretty frustrating. It's this movable directional light. Alright, we do a stationary directional light. Well, let's just do it again with the movable stuff. Build all the things. I do not understand why some of these things are casting shadows and some of them are not casting shadows. It just makes no sense to me. Alright, well the lighting's not even built yet, so maybe I should wait for that. Yeah, it's just this directional light screwing everything up. I must have some other lights that are interfering with the scene. There are 4 lights. They're all wrong. So our shadows are working there, as we would totally expect them to. Yeah, like... Let's see, all these rocks have... They probably don't have cast shadows on. So what is lighting this whole world at the moment? Is it the light mass or the light source thing? Yeah, so it's this thing. Can I change the time of day? So let's see, we want to move the sun. How the hell do we move the sun?